I'm Anqoinette Crosby. Welcome to County Report this week. Coming up in the next half hour, county officials are warning residents about carbon monoxide poisoning. More about the new law that could help save lives. Plus, looking for a job? We'll tell you who's hiring thousands of workers. And later, this is a good sign that spring is almost here. We'll tell you when the cherry blossoms are set to appear. But first, Montgomery County has unveiled a new early child care and education initiative. This 4-year action plan would greatly expand child care options for little ones. Lorna Virgili was at the launch and brings us the story.
County Executive Mark Elrich announced that $7 million have been identified to add 600 new child care seats in the first year of the Early Care and Education Initiative.
You know, as a former school teacher at a high poverty school, I know how important this is. I taught 17 years at Rolling Terrace. I think most of you know that. We had very high poverty. My years there, we were often above 70% free and reduced lunch. And, you know, you got to see what happened when kids weren't ready to learn when they came to school. No matter how hard the teachers worked, it's very hard to close those gaps. And that's why, you know, making sure that we start as many children without a gap is absolutely critical to the job we're going to do.
Montgomery County is home to more than 76,000 children under the age of 6. About 30,000 of them are economically vulnerable.
We must be strategic and invest in the early years, of course. It is the best return on investment and prepares all of our children to succeed. It is the great equalizer. We must confront the fact that in our county currently, about 25% of children from low-income households enter kindergarten ready to learn. The rates for English language learners and children with disabilities are even lower. Preparing all children to be ready to learn from the onset of school avoids the need for costly remediation, and we know that our resources are limited, and is critical to closing that opportunity gap that always leads to that achievement gap.
The county has increased access for income-eligible middle-class families through the County Child Care Subsidy Program, and will also aim to recruit 50 family child care homes and provide operators with the necessary support to operate a licensed child care home.
Montgomery County Public Schools cannot and should not do this work alone and in isolation and in a silo. It should be a fully integrated community program where we can serve some children, and we do now, and we've put $1 million in our next budget that was before you right now to continue going from half day to full day and adding centers as we did last year. But that leaves thousands of children still with the need for early education and thousands of families with the need for early care.
Part of the initiative includes expanding training and professional development. Montgomery College will play a pivotal role providing educational programs.
What I think is particularly important is the college, as a result of their efforts, is expanding our offerings to make sure that we also have an early childhood education technology degree completely online this fall. We will also continue to provide experiences at our Center for Early Education at Germantown, including openings in our Head Start participants. Teachers in training can observe young children as a part of their preparation for the workforce. And programs are also available to help providers to run their business side of their particular business for caring for children and teaching children as well.
Parents interested in child care options can call 240-777-1155. In Rockville, I'm Lorna Virgili for County Report This Week.
In the wake of growing diversity in our communities, county officials will develop a racial equity and social justice plan. Executive Mark Elrich and council members held a press conference to announce their vision. The idea is that government at all levels would implement new models for governing.
So all the departments are going to have processes by which they look at things through a racial equity lens. And so each department is going to develop a process. The standards are going to be common across all departments, so departments aren't doing different things. So we'll be able to everybody's going to be accountable for making sure that what they do doesn't have disparate impacts on different communities, whether by race or gender for that matter.
There was also a community forum to draw attention to the county's work on racial equity and social justice. They want to motivate residents and organizations to participate in the process. Montgomery County officials want residents to be educated about the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning and how an upcoming law will protect them from this silent killer. Susan Kennedy has the story.
But I think we both have carbon monoxide poisoning.
Carbon monoxide is the most common cause of death by poison in the United States. This odorless, colorless gas is a silent killer that claims more than 500 lives every year.
Usually we get called for flu-like symptoms. Person with nausea, dizziness, those key indications of carbon monoxide poisoning gets called in as someone who has the flu.
Montgomery County Fire Chief Scott Goldstein and Councilmember Craig Rice want the public to be educated about the dangers of carbon monoxide and how they can protect themselves from this deadly gas.
What we saw is that some of the deaths that happened here in Montgomery County have been with older homes and with older construction, and it's just been that people aren't aware of the fact that these new carbon monoxide alarms can give them an extra safety protection when it comes to whether they're using a portable electric generator or whatever the case may be in their homes, not mindful of the fact that their car is running in their garage, all the kinds of things that people do, especially during this time frame of winter.
It's the care and upkeep of those types of appliances. Is it the care of the stove or the hot water heater or the dryer? Anything that's got a blue flame or an orange flame or has a chance of producing carbon monoxide. And then it's the ventilation of that combustion product. Your flue, your chimney, be it a fireplace or the furnace, if that gets clogged, if that gets some type of obstruction or diversion, that can be leaking carbon monoxide into another part of the house.
Today, county firefighters have detectors on all of their medical bags.
A single gas detector for carbon monoxide.
If that device goes off, they know they are dealing with a carbon monoxide situation.
So when it starts chirping at us, we recognize that there is an emergency in that structure of a high CO level. We were frankly surprised once we put these Sentry detectors on how many calls were actually carbon monoxide related. In the years prior to that, it was actually the hospital that would contact us back and say, "That's amazing. This person has a high level of carbon monoxide in their blood," after advanced testing.
Beginning July 1st, a law introduced by Councilmember Rice and passed by the council will require that all 2-unit homes as well as single-family houses must have carbon monoxide alarms installed. County law already requires the devices for multifamily dwellings and new construction. Officials are mounting an education campaign to make sure residents understand the new law and how they can go about getting one of the alarms.
Carbon monoxide alarms are as progressive as smoke alarms are. They have 10-year batteries in them as well, so that they're just as user-friendly, or just as simple as plugging it into an outlet and has a battery backup. The cost is in that $30 range.
A lot of people may have slow and very minuscule exposure and not even realize that they're being exposed to it. It may not be at such a large level that it causes the sort of reactions, but having these alarms in place will actually ensure that folks will be able to understand what's happening in their house.
Appliances in the home that use natural gas, propane, or wood all have the potential to generate carbon monoxide. The alarms are available at hardware and home improvement stores. They should be installed outside of sleeping areas, and they can be mounted on walls or ceilings.
I mean, as we know that we have a very large and growing senior population here in Montgomery County, and so a lot of those folks have been aging in place in their homes that don't have the benefit of some of the hardwired features that a lot of our newer homes do.
It's a uniformed, trained Montgomery County firefighter. They'll check your house.
And so we're encouraging all of our elderly residents throughout Montgomery County to reach out, to call our offices, to call 311. We're hoping that we're really going to be able to just make sure that we try and minimize the amount of loss of life that happens here in Montgomery County when it comes to carbon monoxide poisoning.
To find out more about what this new law requires, or if you have any other questions about carbon monoxide, you can call 311 for the county's Customer Service Center. In Gaithersburg, I'm Susan Kennedy for County Report This Week.
Coming up on County Report This Week, more stores are closing at Lake Forest Mall. We have an update about what's in store for the property. And the county's Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation is currently conducting a recruitment campaign. That and more when we return. Stay with us.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC 311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going. Recycle more now.
Welcome back to County Report This Week. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. JCPenney and Starbucks are the latest stores to close at Lake Forest Mall. MyMC Media's Jordan Lindsay spoke with the mayor of Gaithersburg to get an update about the status of the property.
So Lake Forest is about 40 years old. It was the first big regional mall of its kind, and you know, when it opened up, it was a big deal, and people from all over the region came to it. But as malls nationally have, at least the indoor type of malls like this have started to decline, Lake Forest has been in decline for some time. The challenge with Lake Forest, the conundrum, is that it might look like it's one piece of property, but it's actually like there's 5 different property owners. And they have what's called a reciprocal easement agreement, which means that no one can make any substantial changes to their piece of the mall without the permission of all the others. What this has meant is really a stalemate for a lot of years. We cannot have a redevelopment of Lake Forest Mall unless all 5 property owners agree to it. As we see, JCPenney has announced that it's closing in the summer. Probably have a long while to go before we can get a redevelopment, but it could be a step in the right direction. Well, malls nationally, that model has been declining for a long time, and Lake Forest is just an example of it. You know, I certainly think that there's the rise of online retailers has had an impact on retail all over America, and again, Lake Forest is no exception to that. From my perspective personally, and my council members, we all think that there's a tremendous amount of potential for the property where Lake Forest is, and we think that you know, redevelopment eventually is going to be the answer for it.
Did you know that there are nearly 17,000 facilities that you can rent for your next event? This week on the county's Spanish language radio show, we learned about the spaces available in the county, whether it's a school auditorium or the Silver Springs Civic Building. Here's what you need to know.
We do have 17,000 facilities. The facilities are available if you go online. The application is there. It will take you step by step through the process. Once the permit is issued, then you are required to pay. This isn't prior to the event. There is a 10-day notice period. So for example, if you want to hold something next month, you need to, at least 10 days in advance, go online and make the application.
Now, if you rent a space in a public school, those fees go back to schools for supplies and maintenance. To learn more, visit montgomerycountymd.gov/CUPF or call 240-777-2725. Are you looking for a job? Well, the Census Bureau is hiring. The 2020 census will take place early next year, but the Bureau is already looking for workers. About 5,200 people will be hired in Montgomery County. If you're interested, apply online at 2020census.gov/jobs. For additional ways to apply, the info is on your screen. And here's another employment opportunity. The county's Department of Correction and Rehabilitation is hiring. They're looking for correctional officers and security personnel. Candidates must apply online by April 23rd. Go to montgomerycountymd.gov/COR for more info. Plus, there's an applicant processing event on April 27th at Montgomery College. For more info on that, call 240-777-9759. Motor Vehicle Administration offices are expanding hours and adding staff. That's in order to handle the rush of customers trying to get the new driver's licenses that pass the federal Real ID standard.
The big thing that we're announcing today is that we've added 2,700 appointments statewide. So we've done that in two ways. One is that at 8 offices in particular, where we've seen a lot of volume, we're adding hours on Tuesday night and Saturday afternoon. So additional options for customers. We knew our traditional hours might be a little challenging for somebody to come in. And so for starting this Saturday until May 4th, at 8 branch offices, we've added appointments. So customers should look for those additional convenient options.
Is your ride to work or school a bumpy one? With freeze and thaw cycles happening several times a week, make sure to be on the lookout for potholes. For the county's Department of Transportation, filling potholes is a year-round affair. Over the last year, MCDOT received more than 5,000 requests to fill them. That's why you're being asked to report potholes by calling MC 311 or by filing a service request online. Once reported, MCDOT typically inspects and repairs them within 3 business days. Coming up on County Report this week, how a local high school is paying a lasting tribute to a beloved principal. And Rockville goes purple to bring awareness to a serious drug issue. Stay with us. County Report this week. We'll be right back.
We all know the stress of driving into downtown Silver Spring and the district, but thanks to Ride On,
I don't have to worry anymore.
Route 129 is a new limited stop bus route running both directions along the US 29 corridor, from Burtonsville Park and Ride to the Paul Serene Silver Spring Transit Center. There are even free, convenient park and ride lots along the route.
Now my commute is relaxing. Plus I'm helping get cars off the road, reducing congestion and my commute time.
Ride On. Get there faster.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. A school community recently came together to honor the memory of a very special person. This is how they're making sure his name and legacy live on. MCPS TV has the story.
3.5 years after the untimely death of Principal Michael Doran, the Thomas S. Wooten High School community came together to honor a beloved former principal. Michael Doran was an MCPS employee for 18 years, a principal at Wooten for 12 years, and the school now remembers that service by naming the school auditorium after him.
He welcomed thousands of students to Wooten on this very stage with the intent of building relationships and building a Wooten strong community.
Dr. Doran was very prideful of his students and preached the ideals of hard work equaling high reward. He discussed the future with students quite often, expressing the importance for an education after graduation, as well as the benefits of work and volunteer experience.
Michael worried about his students. He once told some of us that he wished someone would build a moat around the school so he could keep his students safe at school. His advice to students now and in the future would be to follow your dreams, but stay safe.
From his book recommendations to his Dr. Doran's question time, which I always jokingly refer to as Prime Minister's Question Hour, to spending enough times with the students stealing their French fries that he knew all of their names and he knew something about every student. His goal was to grow a culture that allowed for learning, to grow a culture that allowed for significant relationships.
We're here tonight to celebrate Michael's gift of seeing the best in his students, encouraging them to achieve their maximum potential, whether it was on a sports field or a stage like this. So know that when you walk in this auditorium or you walk across the stage, he is still here.
The Michael J. Doran name will adorn the entrance to the Wootton High School auditorium into the future as a tribute to the principal who inspired his students and worked tirelessly for his community.
Rockville kicked off its opioid awareness campaign using a special event inspired by a community. Rock 11's Craig Buchanan has the story.
As part of the Rockville Goes Purple campaign, the city welcomed Chris Herron, a former NBA player and recovery advocate, to a captivated house at the F. Scott Fitzgerald Theater Thursday evening. Herron's presentation, Prevention Starts With All, the Chris Herron Story, detailed the former Boston Celtics player's inspirational journey from addiction to recovery and his mission to make a difference.
I started doing this 8 years ago, and I quickly realized the need and the necessity for just getting the message out there, talking about not only addiction, but recovery as well. I think as long as we continue to talk about it and destigmatize it, I think treatment and the opportunity to get well will be presented in front of people. Addiction isn't a death sentence, and you know, the sky's the limit if people want to put the work in to get sober.
The city's efforts against opioid abuse will continue with a panel discussion of experts on the topic and free training on how to respond to an opioid overdose at 9:30 a.m. Saturday, March 30th in room 301 of the Science West building at Montgomery College. Admission is free, but you must register. Visit rockvillemd.gov/registration and register for course number 9455. For County Report This Week, I'm Craig Buchanan.
Tacoma Park hosted a TEDx event that brought together young voices for a local conversation. City TV was there and has more about what these students had to share.
So last year in February there was the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and we noticed that a lot of youth were standing up and speaking out for what's right, and so we wanted that same kind of platform in our community. And so originally we had people that were talking about climate change, gun control, things like that, but then it kind of formed into more people talking about things that happen that often go unnoticed, like education and assumptions and things that people don't really think about a lot.
Seeing the event coming together with all of the help that we've gotten and all of the fantastic performers and speakers we have has been my favorite part, because it's really cool to see our hard work pay off, and the people in our community really care about this event.
All of these different things in my life improved overall because I wanted to be great in one thing, and I was able to use that process for multiple things. So really, I want students to put forth their best effort, put their best foot forward, starting with school, and then you could use that process to just want to be great in everything that they do.
I talked about how assumptions can really break down people and make them not the people that they were before, and make them into the assumptions.
I hope that everyone who listened to my talk decides to be more welcoming and really more accepting, and really realizes the importance of immigration.
From the beginning, we wanted it to start a conversation in the community. So we don't want it to just happen and nothing comes from it. We want to have people still talking about it, and not just about the TEDx, but about the talks that happened and what can continue happening from this event and this conference.
Because I can't help falling in love with you.
Coming up on County Report This Week, we have your MC Hoops highlights. So are both teams heading to a national tourney? And they are the stars of springtime in our area. So when will the cherry blossoms be seen? More on that when we come back.
In a world without social workers, new families would not be formed through adoption. Veterans would not get services they need. People with mental illness would be more isolated. More children would be exposed to abuse. And people discriminated against because of race, class, religion, gender, or sexual orientation would lose their champions. Aren't you glad social workers make the world better? Celebrate them during Social Work Month in March.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. In college hoops, both MC basketball teams competed in a big tournament this past weekend with a trip to nationals on the line. MCTV's Michael Brown was there to cover all the action.
After the college's decision last year to move up in division status, both MC teams were competing in the Division II tournament for the first time this year. MC's women's team, seeded 5th, faced 4-seed Frederick in the quarterfinals. MC got off to a strong start behind freshman forward Nusaiba Rashad and led 18-13 after the first quarter. But in the second quarter, Frederick started hitting threes and took a 4-point halftime lead. MC reclaimed the lead in the third and pushed it up to 6, but Frederick again used the three to cut MC's lead to just 1 with 10 minutes to play. The fourth quarter was all Raptors, and led by Rashad, MC rolled into the semis with an 85-69 win. And they had Rashad to thank. All she did was score 44 points and pull down an amazing 37 rebounds in the win. MC's men, seeded 7th, came in shorthanded in their matchup against nationally ranked 2-seed Beaver County. 2 key starters were out, making an already tough task even harder. MC fell behind in the first half and never seriously threatened. They gave maximum effort, but just didn't have the firepower to match up against the Titans, who took the game easily, ending the Raptors' season. In the women's semifinals, MC took on the top-seeded Chesapeake Skipjacks. The Raptors struggled early with poor shooting and foul trouble and fell behind by 12. MC settled down in the second quarter and cut the Chesapeake lead to 9 at the half, and in the third quarter, Jordan Odom led an early MC rally that cut the lead to 4. But Chesapeake recovered to lead by 9 heading into the fourth quarter. Early in the fourth, MC was able to get the deficit down to 6, but that was as close as they'd come. And despite a valiant effort, they were never able to dig out of the hole they dug for themselves in the first quarter and dropped this one 80-71, bringing an end to their season. For County Report this week, I'm Michael Brown.
It's an annual anticipation that happens this time every year. The Cherry Blossom Festival is March 20th through April 14th. MyMC Media's reporter Ashley Prophet tells us when we will see peak blooming.
Mark your calendars and get your Instagrams ready. The National Park Service announced the cherry blossoms will be at peak bloom between April 3rd and 6th. Last year's bloom was on April 5th, but with colder temperatures and constantly changing weather, we might expect blooming delays. Things may speed up in late March with the expected warmer temperatures. Reporting from Rockville, I'm Ashley Prophet for County Report This Week.
Now it's time to meet our pet of the week. This is Charlie. He's friendly and active and, as you can see, loves to play and go for long walks. Charlie would be a good fit in a home with kids 12 and older. He can also coexist with another dog-friendly playmate. Please call the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center at 240-773-5900 or visit Charlie on the web at montgomerycountymd.gov/ASD. With that, we close this edition of County Report This Week. Remember to like us on Facebook and to join us again at this time every week for a look at what's going on inside Montgomery County. I'm Anqoinette Crosby. Thank you for watching.